Now recently, I decided that my trusty 10-year-old Mac was no longer able to fulfill my needs. I mean, 10 years is a long bloody time, and I've literally been through war with the poor thing. And even though I'm probably the biggest cheapskate on the planet, I realised that it's time to call it a day and to finally get a new laptop. Now, I've been using a Mac for about 10 years and I haven't really had any major problems. But I'm not gonna lie, I've been very tempted to join the PC/Windows side of the world. I mean, why wouldn't I? PCs typically are way cheaper and I can get way more value for money, and I can always upgrade it with new parts to keep it going in the future. And after weighing up all the options, it seemed to me that it didn't make any logical sense for me to choose a Mac over a PC. I mean, I would have been absolutely deluded to do so, but that was until I took a trip down to the Apple store. And just after 20 minutes of talking to the sales rep, there I was, like an absolute dickhead, with my card in hand, purchasing a brand new Mac. Now listen, I am not a dumb consumer. I do the utmost research and I always try to get the best value for money. But as I sit here right now, animating on my new Mac, I just can't help but smile and feel good about my new purchase. And in this video, what I'm going to be breaking down is the genius of Steve Jobs and how his marketing strategies and philosophies was not only able to convince me to make this buying decision, but to also create one of the biggest and greatest companies of all time. And how you can use these strategies to implement into your life, in your business, and in yourself. This is Aaron, this is the Golden Knowledge, and this is how to think like Steve Jobs. So how do we think like Steve Jobs? How can we build a company like Apple? Well, after extensively studying Jobs' life and marketing, I realised that what he utilised was the 43rd law of power. Work on the hearts and minds of others. By trying to force people to do what you want them to do, creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn. And the way to seduce others is to operate on their individual psychologies and weaknesses. Soften up their resistance by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. To ignore the hearts and minds of others is to encourage people to hate you. And this is how to think like Steve Jobs. The biggest reason for Apple's success doesn't really come down to the features of Apple's products. Now granted, Apple products are very good, but it's not just because of the quality of the products that contributes to Apple's success. What it really comes down to is the marketing of the products. The stories that Jobs told about the products.
To me, marketing is about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us.
Steve Jobs was known as a master storyteller. He made a theatrical show out of everything and put on compelling spectacles like the great P.T. Barnum, who is the godfather of marketing. And if you want to know more, make sure you check the video out that I've already done on him. But the biggest lesson that we can learn from Jobs is that people don't buy your product. They buy into your philosophy. They buy into the way you view the world. Nowadays, it's not hard to replicate Apple products. There are a ton of phones and computers out there that are actually much better and way more cheaper than Apple products. But the thing is, no one can captivate people's attention and tell stories like Apple. And that was how Jobs was able to create the largest technological company in the world. By understanding that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And this is what links back to the law of working on the hearts and minds of others.
Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple.
Us human beings are emotional creatures. It's in our nature to be emotional. So why is it that most companies focus their marketing through logic and reasoning? Don't get it twisted, logic and reasoning is important, but it's the emotional aspect of things that triumphs everything. And that is exactly how I was sold on buying a new Mac over a PC. Every forum I read and all the research that I did about PCs were just pure responses about the logical side of things. The reason why 32 gigabytes of RAM will speed up my computer. The reason why the latest processor would make the PC more powerful. Whereas the questions that I asked about the Mac, the sales rep would tell me a story and tie that story into the point he was trying to make. It wasn't just the fact that the Mac had a 2TB SSD of storage. It was the fact he told a story of how it would make my life so much easier and painted a picture and vision of the person I was capable of becoming with this technology. He didn't just tell me the features of the product. He told me a story about how the product would be a solution to my problems, hitting multiple emotional pain points. And frankly, that is what sold me on it, because of the storytelling and emotion it evoked in me. This strategy of sales and marketing was hammered all down by Steve Jobs, and this is what created the foundation of Apple sales and marketing.
What we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe.
The idea of selling the philosophy behind the product rather than its pure features. By appealing to the hearts and minds of people, rather than just the logic and reasoning side, you are going to find it much easier to get people to buy into your ideas and products. Once Jobs would move people with emotion, he knew the prospect will be much easier to persuade to purchase the product. This Steve Jobs philosophy has been embedded and engraved into Apple's culture, and is also what is used by the biggest companies in the world. Nike don't even talk about their shoes in their adverts because they don't see themselves as just a shoe company. What they actually focus on is selling ambition and aspiration. The aspiration to become a better athlete, the aspiration to get a better body, the aspiration to become a stronger person. This is Nike's core message. And then Nike will go on to create and sell you their products that will help you do that.
Of all, and one of the greatest jobs of marketing the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the product. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about.
Apple doesn't just sell computers. What they actually sell is the idea of you being able to change the world and go against the status quo. And again, Apple will take this emotional message and then go on to create and sell their products that represent their ideas and philosophy. And that's how to think like Steve Jobs, and how you can really create a solid brand for yourself and your business. When it comes to marketing yourself, your ideas, or your business, focus on hitting the emotional side of things. Focus on the hearts and minds of people. Don't just list and talk about what your product does. What you want your core message to communicate is why you do what you do and how you or your company provides a solution to that. Only then, once you've communicated this message clearly, is when you then go on to talk about what your product does. But always make sure to link it back to why you do what you do and the philosophy on what you stand for.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Now, if you like this video, make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment below on what your thoughts on Steve Jobs are. And if you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel, and to all our loyal subscribers, we are glad you are here. We do some of the best character breakdowns on the whole of YouTube, and we aim to produce at least one high quality animated video per week. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any golden knowledge. I'll see you soon.